can take even from this, kind of playful compositions, if you will. Battleground for game number 2 here. Gonna be going over to the Sky Temple. Not going to the standard shrines maybe that we'd expect for Freedom in game 1, but Sky Temple, second highest priority coming up from that.
I wonder if they just go back to normal. I mean, this is a very standard Battleground pick here for Team Freedom.
I don't think they go back to normal. You do not pick that composition in game 1 and then just go, you know what, now time to bring out the try-hard pants again, boys. If anything, you go, this is Juice Pirates. This is insert whatever cheese you have.
If we see an Artanis, if we see
Samuro,
Illidan,
supportless, we saw in Europe be successful on this Battleground.
It's a time to kind of spread your wings a little bit and see if you can get away with it. You know, the Falstad changes coming in, those are interesting for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the mana reduction on the hammering, I've been playing with that, and you can survive a lot longer, and I feel like Mage Stat was always a word thrown around, but it was never that thing that you could easily get away with because it's like, look, auto attack build is way too strong, giant killer, and then the cooldown reduction at 13, 16, you go, ooh. But now, stacking that up, I really wonder if we might see a return of Falstad soon.
Yeah, I won't. My only qualms with it compared to the original Mage Stab when it's at, kind of its prime is still the situation, unless you're going W build within, then that's a new build of its own, right? That's its own argument, is the fact that the scaling on Gathering Storm is still significantly slower. Even when you sit at, optimal stacking, it's the question of does that get the trade-off off the consistency of the damage scaling you get off Seasoned Marksman? We'll find out. New Falstad, it's almost online. But we got game 2 here, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see if we get as wild of compositions, the shotgun Junkrat of last game.
It's so weird because we literally stayed with the Medivh Maiev right out of the gates, and they're like, haha, just kidding.
Well, we're going to start draft 2 in the same manner. Maiev taken away. I'm assuming the Medivh will be removed as well. If not, Medivh, personally, I feel like he falls into a lot of areas of cheese.
Just casually appear here and there. Make your way out of places you shouldn't be.
Yeah, you can pretty much set yourself up for, I feel like an early game play with, a keep from wall that should never exist. You just make a weird...
Just a keep front wall?
It's hard to explain. But pretty much you feign weakness in one area of the map and then just kind of, oh, here's your front wall for free in multiple times.
With Sylvanas, you just take a keep.
You right.
Not a keep wall.
You
literally
used to.
just
You
walk.
don't anymore.
But you can. I've tried it. It might be a thing of the past, but with a Gray Mane and any other composition, you can do it in less than 45 seconds, guaranteed.
J-How, the one true Sylvanas fighter. Maiev, Medivh, Malfurion, they're all taken away, but the Medivh makes it through. He is going to be that first pick.
Did I ever tell you about how that strategy evolved?
No, you did not.
Hanamura.
Hanamura of all Battlegrounds.
Abathur Genji. But Hanamura, so remember when the catapults used to do core damage?
Yeah.
I was like, what if you just take the keep out right at the beginning, and then you get a fort because you could just, it was a very long path, a very unassuming path, and I'm like, what if I just take the keep out? And all of a sudden, you take both keeps, all of a sudden you get catapult version, it's like game over.
No, I
Super
definitely,
cheese.
Yeah, definitely that map promoted some weird backdoor onto the, onto the keeps. I can see that map kind of spawning those strategies. We got the Abathur Genji, as you said, coming out from Team Freedom. That's a bit more norm. We still have an option for a Samuro. Simplicity, the fact that they committed to the Medivh.
Genji, it's easy to stay alive. You kind of poke around, maybe hold something. You still have the escape. You don't require as much healing. And the Samuro obviously is going to be dancing around doing other things. I like where we're going here. But so far, if we're looking at standard, this is pretty standard.
Yeah, I struggle to go, what do I want to suggest next? Because I feel like it's unfair considering these two teams, after those lap drafts to even assume anything. We got the Anubarak and we got ourselves a Greymane. That is screaming we are diving something. Greymane for the Siege, Anubarak for the Beetles and the Burrow Charge over the wall, Medivh for the Portals. Somebody's losing a keep early game here. I feel like, it's gotta be.
I'm holding it in. I'm holding my excitement in, but
that's got to be it right there with the last pick into her.
Look, if it doesn't happen, I'll accept it. Cautious optimism for right now. So one of the reasons why Nubarak works, he does a bunch of damage. And by the way, if you're ever trying to take a fort or a keep, one of the things that you'll see pro players do, if you're wondering why in the world...
Oh, the Samuro ban.
Wow, that's mean. If you ever wonder why is the Nubarak burrow charging the fort or the keep, it spawns a beetle every time you use an ability. That's one of the reasons why you do that. Murky!
Hey, we got the Murky!
I'm taking it. This might be it.
I just want everybody at home to know as well, every time I have somebody tweet at me with statistics of relevance of involvement rate of specific heroes, I just want to bring up days like today. And this is when somebody goes, but Murky was picked in the HGC. And I just go, like, really? But was really Murky really picked?
Do you remember Eastern Clash last March, like just over a year ago, and China came in, I think it was Dragonshire, and the Dahaka could not deal with it? And you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. The Dahaka actually deals with it really well with Dark Swarm.
Yeah, man. Ooh, all right. So I'll be honest, Murky, Samuro makes a lot of sense in the world of, unique strategies. Murky has fallen off quite a bit in terms of effectiveness in strategies, especially looking at his second nerf after his rework. But he is decent at being a problem, at being annoying for sure. I will say I'm leaning on the sides of simplicity so far in this draft, though, when looking at the cheese. Lucio and TLV. You're going to TLV over Sylv? We get the Lost Vikings?
Come on, man.
Come on.
You had it. Had the opportunity. Have you ever, I'm sure we've all done it sometimes, but an Abathur Murky is no fun to play into if they are a well-prepared Abathur Murky.
I would straight up say it's one of the hardest compositions to play into, period. I really want this last pick to be not a support. And if it is one, only a Tassadar. I don't know, something a little wilder. Or something with split push. Something with harder split push than this, but...
Ooh, a Viking Hunter.
Ooh, a Gazlo. That's it. Gazlo. We could get a Gazlo. Think about it.
Vikings do count as a full hero death in terms of meat stacks, not towards actual contribution in terms of stats and experience. Look,
I'm actually going to die on this mic right now.
Because
if I have to hear about more theory crafting on Butcher.
Oh, I got Sylv and Butcher strats for days.
What? We get the Phoenix. It's a little bit, split pushy, which is going to be needed in this type of composition. If Freedom's going for what I think they're going for, which is just essentially just an insane amount of lane domination on one half of the map, relying on the 4-man of TLV, not being able to soak effectively and having to match into them, and then hopefully getting enough split pressure onto the side lanes to where TLV doesn't get that big of effectiveness.
Do you know what it's like to prepare an entire weekend's worth of stats?
And then just have them all get thrown away in one draft and just, it doesn't matter.
I might as well just like casually put my notes down to the side, put everything down and be like, I still like it. I still love this. I mean, if you're telling me, look, you got to put your notes aside for this, I'm all for it. I mean, I am all aboard this.
Probably everything but the Vikings. I agree with. The Viking, it just feels like North America, we've had a lot of cheese. We've had, especially internationally, when we get to moments where we go, maybe we can't take out this Titan that is, insert internationally renowned team here or there. Seems like we always go back to the Vikings, but it feels like by now we've accepted, yeah, it's probably just not that good.
Can you still backdoor? I mean, a Nubarak Beatles, you don't have the lockdown. Greymane, as long as he's not prioritized with the shots after the Beatles get phased out. Lucio has that, but Medivh doesn't have great siege. Lucio doesn't have great siege, and it's strictly on Greymane.
I would argue what we're going to see is essentially the Vikings are soaking, and you just backdoor again, like that keep. You don't portal. Well, you have to portal over. Yeah. You got to portal over because not everybody has
is like your
only
only damage. I mean, a Nubarak's okay, but it's normally like, all right, it's okay, but he's got Beetles. Murky's already going bot lane. No reason for him to go mid. Let's see. I'm curious where he kind of focuses things. Abathur support build, of course.
Making Murky that much more intimidating. I will say, this is one of those games where I know it's Sky Temple, especially against a TLV. Like the mule's going to be effective, but I can't help but be like, oh my Needle Spine. Murky with Needle Spine this game, so value. Calf gets scouted. You see them. They're all kind of formulating over this bottom front wall.
Rookie mistakes.
And here we go. The games begin.
I mean, this is one of the things that you can do, but Nasmus and team are already here. Nasmus also going into that that hammer build, so he'll be stacking that up.
The real question is, oh man, Murky's going for the this is so well done. The proxy wave, man.
Do you remember how long we discussed this last year at Sweden with Bakery?
Yeah, because I have been freaking out about proxying waves forever. I've been waiting, especially on Cursed Hollow. The map begs to get proxy.
I said Zeratul, Murky, or Leo, and then it was, I think at the end of last year, Alex busted out with Azul. I think they did it today on Cursed Hollow. And I'm like, all right, but with Murky, I mean, you literally, okay, so the reason you do it, and we'll actually take a look at this. So your minions now on the side of Team Freedom will just push in and take that wall. There is no defense for them. Normally, your minions are your best defense.
But if you have no wave clear, you have no opportunity to survive in that. It's a worse tactic now that we've removed the ammo system from, you can't get that drain up on the front wall, but it's still a really good tactic against anybody who has really weak laning, really weak skirmishing trades, and against a Murky who can sacrifice himself like that, especially with an Aperture hat. He can trade up almost 1 versus 1 into anybody. So it's really just going, hey, you have to demand answers on the top half of the map. And though it's not going to match 1-to-1 into Simplicity's pressure on the bottom lane, it actually will gain nearly as much as we see Simplicity achieve down below.
This is one of the things when you do have a gray main, it makes it far easier to 4-man and just death ball. And they have the composition, they have the sustain heals, they have the burst heal. Yoda, he's under assault there. They've got a Nubrak that can provide a lot to lock down in terms of eating some of that damage. Nasmus
trying to buy a bit of time. Bottom fort now going to go over to Simplicity. Notice how Murky is actually proxying the wave where the siege is coming. If they were going to do that, it's a brilliant strategy on the side of Zugrug because then you're stalling out the minions. He should have done it earlier. It's actually one of the best ways, especially very, very late game. If you end up losing a couple members and your opponents go, oh, we can end the game, but they don't have the wave, you sit and you backdoor the minion wave and you just make it to where it's like you have to get these minions to your side. Otherwise, you can't all into the core. It would have hindered the siege on the side of Simplicity a lot faster. Personally, I know we're nitpicking, cheese here, but seriously, that would have been actually a very clever adjustment to stopping Simplicity's pressure at zero trade-off for them whatsoever.
Posty under assault as the Merc Master comes after him. Murky did not go onto the stacking slime build, by the way. Instead, going into that extra pufferfish damage as well as the armor on that.
I'm assuming we're going to get an Ox grab this game. But who knows? Maybe we'll get ourselves a March in the Murloc. Especially into the Lucio with no cleansability. Although the Medivh Force of Will could make it a little bit more difficult.
The backdoor of the minion waves by Murky has just been, it's a treat to watch, right? I just watching the minimap for me, Dreadnought, and watching the little red dots known as the Team Freedom minions kind of doing their thing. You don't have to see it. You know what they're doing. That's kind of my favorite part is just him getting away with this over and over.
Nope, nobody's going to stop him, and if you do, you pretty much lose the trade. It's very good decision-making here from the members of Team Freedom. And it's one that's not going to pay off for them right now. It's probably at the later stages when you see them being near even in experience and, more importantly, near even in structures as well, where you start going, wait a minute, well, you are the team that got sieged on bottom, but somehow you're ahead. You're even competing, which is still a true statement even now, as you see 1-to-1 in forts.
I wonder if they're, oh, wait a minute, Nasmus, he's in trouble. That's our first official takedown outside of a Viking, I believe, at this point.
Yep.
Even Murky has not died yet.
Yeah, it's because he's been on an island, though, He's really been able to be left alone because you're not going to bring the Vikings back to make this happen. So what I do want to say, on the same level of backdoor cheese, there is an adjustment as Yoda getting a lot of damage will end up going down. There is an adjustment on this proxy that you can make. I'm going to go shout out to, Shad from long ago. I believe he was on Liquid when he was busting this strategy out of the European region, but he would do it on Dragonshire, a proxy Baylog, as Nasmus actually missing his Dwarf Toss out. 10's picked up here for Simplicity. And Simplicity just went from barely ahead to dominating over the Sky Temple match. What I was going to say is you just spec into the auto attack heals on Baylog, and then you proxy in a different way than Murky is, and you go, okay, well, if you're going to proxy, I'll proxy too. And it becomes a, a kind of double whammy trade-off where it's a lose-lose then for Team Freedom. We didn't see that adjustment, but, it's something to keep in mind.
I really wonder, because we see the build into the Beetle build, it's a very sustain-heavy build, going into the regen at level 1, the automatically spawning Beetles at 4, and then, of course, the extra attack damage on the Beetles there, and they heal at level 7. I mean, I was going to say maybe they need to backdoor keep, but Dread, they're so far ahead, they can just continue to spawn all the beetles, get in this type of situation, and just, I mean, bully, like brute force their way through these structures.
Yep, they absolutely can, and they're going to continue to do so. No reason. Look at that. They even dropped the cocoon in case they want to force that fight afterwards. No 10s are going to be here. Let's see if they get the one shot. Portal's there. They impale, go for the throat, and they get the kill. Now they're going to get siege up here using those beetles again. Focus on Anasmas. Dortoth's going to come out. Prismat trying to get the track down after that disengage. Yoda able to deter back Simplicity, though, with those auto attacks. Mule's going to come down and heal things up, but we got 3 more seconds until that bottom shrine.
Just trying to figure out where this comes in. It will be the Octo Grab, so they can try and get that one shot, one kill, but they're going to need the Genji back. And we're looking at a single temple phase here as we are just now entering the second. I mean, normally by the second temple phase, there's been a couple camps picked up, a couple of slow rotations. It's only 4 kills to 0, but I feel like so much has happened here in the first 6 minutes of the game. It's like, oh yeah, this is just now the second temple phase.
Yeah, it's, I mean, a lot of it's just been that kind of rotating around. Cap sniffs this out. It's going to be a 4-man collapse, excuse me, 3-man. There's the Planet Cracker after that Octograph. Medivh's Force of Will going to keep him alive a little bit, but not long enough.
The heal off that was insane on what he got out of that.
Yeah,
but
imagine once we get, now that we've hit the 13, when that's multi-target. Sound Barrier drops. Dragon Blade's going to pop out too. Polybomb used on Lutano. He's got to use that Cyber Agility out.
He's trying to survive. Yoda's coming in to try and give support. That's going to be Zuna going down as the rest of them fall.
Master's Touch was completed before that point, though, so Simplicity's got to be thankful for that. Prismat, can he make it out? He gets into Worgen form, so we'll have a disengage.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dread. You know this better than I am. Was K1 the old Vikings player?
For the original Cloud9, yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
Once Arthlon moved over to the roster, and then Arthlon played it, but before that it was K1 Pro.
I thought so. I'm like, wait, why does this look so familiar? Because I see Hosty on Lucio, and I'm like, K1 Pro's okay. And then I look, and I'm like, it is K1 Pro. And I'm like, why am I thinking? It's been so long, right?
No, I have that happen all the time where you'll see a player, you know, on that kind of old school hero, and we're like, this feels so comfortable, but you're like, wait a minute, he's the support main now. How am I used to this?
What's happening? Well, we can see Zugrug. He's continuing to try and be that nuisance as Lutano and is just kind of lurking around. We see the boss triggered here. See if they fully commit to this. Phoenix will sniff this out, or at least thought he was. Yoda, careful of pathing.
Planet Cracker is a pretty good boss control heroic, something that maybe Team Freedom would rely on if they sniff it out, but they haven't shown any interest whatsoever. Now they're going to scout it out. Zugrug will be too little too late. Nazma's not going to commit. Boss picked up for Simplicity.
If you have 13, you have healing static from Murden. You can survive on those points. You have to heal from Abathur if he goes into that spike burst at 13. Healing based on how many people are hit by that, which seems likely. Yeah, he does go that. So I think if they had those tools, maybe they feinted a little bit, but too far down. They're going to just take their chances defending here at the keep.
Move up with the boss. Nazmus takes a bit of damage. Octograb, Planet Cracker gonna go thrown down. The damage is there. Immediately get the one shot onto the Medivh player there. Now Lutano, Cyber Agility, and Swift Strike out. The rebuttal's gonna be there as Murky ends up dropping, but he'll be back in another 4.
The damage is done. Oh, wait a minute. The damage might still be done to Yoda. You know, as long as they don't lose the keep here, they have the Mule. That's the main thing. That's why they're taking their chances here. But Dreadnought, if I told you we see the Phoenix highlight in March, we get Phoenix here in HGC, what was it, week 6, week 7 or something like that? If I tell you Dreadnought, within 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to get an Octo Grab into a Planet Cracker.
I'd have told you just shut up. I'd say no way would we ever get that. Stop talking right now, J-How. It would pretty much be the same expression I have when you go about Sylvanas, really.
Ooh, no, not that bad. Not that bad.
Maybe a little bit more gentle, but probably equally as sour.
Lutano, he's trying to get out of here.
Vikings picked up the top shots and secured the top keep. Simplicity now really can kind of, you know, pick each and every battle they would like. It's going to start with Nazmus after that Polybomb. A lot of pressure on that Octograb. Can they get the Medivh killed? They need it. Force of Will is going to drop. Portal entrance. Zuna's going to take that one. Lutano trying to track it down. Not going to find a reset. Cocoon reveal. Yoda, does he have the warp? He's going to warp away. Tracking down. There's the burrow charge, and he will not get the escape. Another kill here for Simplicity. 7-3. as they now march on towards this bottom keep.
Vikings coming in with the big, heavy flank here, as well as Prismat and Hosty. Look, this Mule, it's going to heal this up, so they're going to fully commit to that. Prismat, though, was the first one in, so he's got to back out. Should have let those Vikings come in. And nonetheless, they will get this bottom keep. And now that bottom temple will turn its attention towards that mid keep. And structure-wise, Dreadnought, Simplicity, they're not doing too bad.
I believe they just got the reveal on that egg for Murky on mid with the flask. I might be wrong. It might have been just out of range. But I think for a moment they might have gotten the scout. We'll see if anybody tries to pressure Murky's egg. That is one minigame we haven't seen in the entirety of this Murky game. Granted, Murky's job has been kind of a counterbalance, a counterweight, if you will, towards the Lost Vikings on the map and just countering that pressure and aggro out. But we may see, you know, some adjustment for Simplicity. It's the only keep that still stands. 16 still out of reach for Freedom. Do they go for this invade?
They're seeing if they can get the... I'll say if he comes around, maybe the pufferfish into an octograb. There's just too much there. It was also acting as vision. Unable to find that, but you know the one pick has not amounted to much on that big octograb. Planet Cracker might see a potential invade here, but I think with Simplicity, you know, you get so far ahead on Sky Temple, you're like, guys, is it really worth it at this point? I mean, you get one temple. There's going to be a keep down. Soon you'll have core damage. Soon you'll have 20. See what Simplicity opts to do.
Zugrug, the little Murky who could in mid. As you see that shield plus the healing coming in, right? Another Abathur hat on top of that if we said one came in there. Would make it a little bit more difficult to get a kill. I was just trying to highlight, you know, Abathur Murky, why it's such a pain to deal with. Pretty much one hat mixed with his bubble, you can just cycle back and forth, back and forth. Collapse coming out from Simplicity. Even though 16 Talents here is here for Freedom, they drop the cocoon on the Genji. Planet Cracker goes down.
Not able to get on anybody. Nasmus now sitting in that back line. We're going to see the Octo grab. See the sound barrier come out, but Prismat, he's not going to... Oh, wait,
oh
no way.
My,
no way.
The Force of Will with the Worgen form engage into the portal exit. That was brilliant play there from Prismat, and it actually keeps him alive. The fight still continues here as nobody ends up falling. Prismat gets into Worgen, takes exit number 2, thanks to portal set
Vikings
by
back door. As Zugrug here on the little Murky that will be able to defend, but I thought for sure I mean, he was locked down so long and somehow makes it out. That's impressive.
K1 Pro not going to be able to make little Eric survive this one. Posey, though, gets the polybomb, and immediately the kill comes in. Lutano trying to thwart them back, though, but down to Phoenix. Doesn't look like it's going to be too possible as the last keep kind of still stands. Vikings still getting pressure onto the core. Abathur doing his best with that mule. And they're going to siege up. Not the biggest siege damage in the world, but still nothing to laugh at as those middle shots are going to start getting damage onto the core. And it looks like Simplicity here with the Lost Vikings may have found themselves a win.
Oh, the big stun coming in. It followed up there by Greyman. He just kind of
just throws out the belly button, man.
Well, it looks like his belly button just hit the ground there as he did fall, but nonetheless, we have our series tied up 1-1, which means that more potential for some more interesting strats as this series will definitely be going more than 3 games
as
now.
This series continues to unfold, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a doozy. I actually just lost my one light, and that's just
it went out earlier too, and it was like, yeah, it's on and off.
A little bit here. Taking a look at some of the numbers. Who was standing at the top of the ladder? Prismat, siege damage outstanding, understandably so. Same with the Lost Vikings because, well, they in fact literally lane for the entirety of nearly the game. Other than that, though, Prismat, I would just say damage-wise, hero damage-wise, stood out a little bit compared to the rest of the squad. Gotta appreciate, though, Team Freedom's, you know, willingness to commit over to the Murky